Dieser Podcast wird unterstützt von Dragonflip. Dragonflip ist der führende Broker für E-Commerce-Brands. Dragonflip gibt dir Zugang zu über 2000 Investoren für deine Brands, sodass du am Ende den besten Käufer, den höchsten Preis und die besten Terms für deinen Exit erzielst. Und jetzt viel Spaß beim Podcast. What's up, everyone, and welcome to a new episode to Exit2Go. Today we have another episode in English because we have an English guest. We have Destaney Wishon from the Better AMS team, actually the CEO of Better AMS. I have just checked the website, Destaney. I've seen that you are agency and have 9 employees for now. Is that still correct, the number of 9?
It is. That is primarily our advertising specialist. We have a few other dev and back-end team members, but yes.
Nice. So as I just was saying, kind of a fan from Better AMS, watching your content on LinkedIn and even on YouTube, still from Taylor. He's not in the public anymore, but he's I've seen he's still kind of part of the company. So how's actually for now the structure like? Are you running it mostly by yourself? Is like Tyler structuring the company? How's it for now?
Yeah, so Taylor is absolutely fantastic at building systems. So that's kind of how his role has been structured. I lead pretty much everything on the Amazon advertising side. I've still been in and out of campaigns in the last few years where he is not. So that allows me to be really in touch with everything on the industry. And then as we scale, we'll come to Taylor with difficulties like, hey, we need help hiring. Can you help build out a whole recruiting program for us? He gets that done. And then my COO, Alex, will be the one to kind of take that system, manage it at scale. So Taylor's just a back-end wizard. So any problems we have, it's like, Taylor, hop on that, see what we can do, and we'll go from there.
Great, yeah, nice to follow this culture and company. So, Better AMS, you're very nice and very specific, specialized in the Amazon PPC game. And one of the first questions we would like to talk about today is because I have this feeling like PPC is getting like you are getting more and more option. I don't think there's any other area in Amazon which is developing so fast, so quickly like the PPC game. And they're like, when we look back 2-3 years ago, I think it was much easier to say like, okay, start probably with this structure and you will be fine, like have auto campaigns and a few research campaigns. And nowadays you have just so many options even from the beginning. And that's one of the very important questions I would like to jump on. It's like, how do you start to structure your campaigns when you have a brand new product, a brand new client?
Yeah, so there's kind of 2 things I like to start with in like helping educate people. One, the beautiful thing about Amazon PPC is it allows us to make data-based decisions. So technically we could test everything and figure out what's working best and what's scaling. But if you're new to the game, that's going to be pretty difficult because you're going to have a lot of different decisions to make and you're not going to know what success looks like. The second thing I like to say is you probably don't have the budget to run every single campaign. I mean, you have sponsored product keyword targeting, product targeting, category targeting, auto campaign, manual campaign, sponsored display, audience, contextual, product, category. And then you have sponsored brands, video, landing pages, all these other things. So when I'm really just from a high level giving direction, I typically recommend starting with sponsored products because that's going to drive 80% of your sales, regardless of your budget. Sponsored products has more ad inventory than anything else. We usually recommend starting with manual campaigns and keyword targeting because that's what's going to help you influence your rank. And it's a lot easier to understand mentally, hey, I'm targeting this keyword. Here's how I'm converting. Let's increase bid or lower bid. When we're expanding beyond that, we do look at product targeting. That's going to be pretty valuable for targeting all of your competitors that you have a competitive advantage over. Video and search does incredibly well. It's one of the highest click-through rate ad types. The problem with video is it's only 1 to 2 placements on the page. So if you're up against a really expensive competitor and they're outbidding you, it's going to become pay to play. Sponsor brands is an amazing one. It's probably one of my absolute favorite ad types, but you do have to have brand registry. You typically have to have 3 products, and it's one of the more difficult ad types to build, and so is sponsored display. So if I'm keeping it short, start with sponsored products, move on to video. It's a pretty easier ad type, and then expand to some of the more complicated ad types.
Okay, so that's definitely a start. So sponsored products. Do you still believe in the structure kind of, okay, let your auto campaigns run and collect some data? Or are you more kind of the team, you know what, we are pretty good at keyword research. We already find kind of the most relevant keywords and we don't really need the auto campaigns.
So at scale for all of our brands, we still run auto campaigns per ASIN because Amazon algorithm's getting a lot better. So their auto campaigns allows us to do evergreen keyword research. So at scale, we almost always run auto campaigns. At a launch, I've been starting with manual campaigns because the algorithm doesn't exactly know my product yet. So if I start an auto campaign, it's going to go really, really broad and then narrow down over time. But sometimes I don't want to spend that money because I know what keywords to target because I know my product best. So I'll start with manual and then roll out auto later on.
Okay, cool. That's interesting. Never thought about that. Like we were always like running auto campaigns from the beginning. Sometimes we had some bad results, even if we usually don't really stop campaigns or ad groups. We just like lower and lower and lower the budget or the clicks. But it would be interesting to see like after maybe 1-2 months when we haven't run any auto campaigns to see if Amazon starts to understand the product better. Yeah, definitely interesting point. Okay, so when you say you start with sponsored products, with manual campaigns, is there kind of any structure? Like, do you prefer exact keywords, broad phrases, or like any specific one, or you try everything at the beginning?
So we manage around, I think, $2.5-3 million worth of spend a month right now. No, $3-4 million worth of spend a month right now. And we pull that data every month. And exact match is typically the most profitable ad type because you have direct control over your bid and the keyword you're targeting. That being said, broad typically drives 3 times the amount of sales, just at a 7 to 8% higher ACoS. So I would say it depends on your goals. I personally like to test if I have a large enough budget. I will test all 3 match types and typically focus on a smaller batch of keywords, like 10 to 50 keywords, broad phrase exact. But I'll know that, hey, I should probably start with lower bids and budgets on broad because it is going to be very broad targeting. If I have a really, really small budget and I don't understand PPC though, I always recommend starting an exact match because like, if you don't understand match types, you'll be like, why am I bidding on purple pin, but showing up for purple pin highlighter for children? And that's sometimes a hard concept to understand.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when you say, okay, we have the budget, let's test a little bit. So you would then start with exact, broad, and phrase. Do you like to negate?
I do not.
Keywords? No? So you just keep it open. Like you know that it could happen that once a time this broad campaign is showing up there, and once a time the exact campaign is showing up there.
Yes, exactly. I think a lot of people run this strategy of, hey, let's funnel from auto campaign to broad campaign to phrase to exact. But we typically work with bigger budgets, so we don't need to do that because we have the budget to spread across all of them. But also Amazon's not going to compete. So even if you have purple pin and broad and purple pin and exact, you're not going to compete. Whoever wins that ad inventory is just whoever's bidding higher typically. So you don't need to worry about complications in that. And I think it just makes it more difficult to manage when you're trying to run this really specific keyword isolation strategy. Yeah. So we always recommend if you have good bid management running across all of your keywords, regardless of match type, you don't necessarily need to worry about isolation because Amazon's going to give the budget to what's performing best based off your bid.
It's a very good point about the management, like because we have tried the strategy and we were like, it's so much, because once you start, it's like, okay, so finish it. So we are checking it every month, and then, okay, we have so many sales there, let's negate it here, and then these lists are getting bigger and bigger. So
yeah. You know, one thing I'd be curious to hear your opinion on is, like, I see it all the time of, hey, purple pin was doing well in this broad campaign, so I paused it, moved it to exact, and now it's not doing as well. That happens pretty frequently because if you think for a one sponsored product ad, there's over 100 different placements for one keyword. You have page 1 placements, you have the carousel for every single one of your competitors, which has 50 placements. So oftentimes if you pause a keyword in one campaign and move it to another campaign, it's not going to perform near as well because it has a different set of data. So a lot of people are surprised by that. Oh, like, hey, why isn't this exact match doing better? I'm like, well, you just completely ruined all that history, put it in a new placement, different bid, and it's a lot different.
Okay, so I guess campaign history is also a major critical point for you. So when you start to onboard new clients, you usually don't start new campaigns?
Somewhat. So that's actually a fantastic question. In general, I never recommend pausing all of your old campaigns. So this could be a little bit complicated because there's a few softwares out there that do this, but you do have so much campaign history. And when you stop all of that and start again, you're basically having to refresh a lot of that. So we rarely ever pause old campaigns. Instead, we'll organize them in a better way. So Quartile, for example, has a very specific structure. One campaign, one keyword. If we're taking over a Quartile account, we're going to have to restructure for better scale. So we're not going to pause all of them. We're going to continue to let the good campaigns run, but we're going to set them up in a structure that makes more sense for the brand and makes it more scalable for the agency. So yes.
Yeah. I mean, you probably have kind of your templates in mind and you worked in your structure, so that makes sense. There was one point I would like to jump back because it's something I really like. You said when you start to launch campaigns or start to launch new products, you like to have kind of a small keyword set and then you start to perform.
Yep.
Is there something, because what we have seen in the past, we have sometimes had a keyword research with like 200 keywords and we were like, they are kind of all relevant somehow. So let's start to target them. So we started a campaign, let's say even an exact match, and we have just seen like, doesn't matter how high we go even up with the bid, sometimes they're getting like 0 impressions. So is there something like you would say, there's a limit of keywords you should put into one ad group?
Yes and no. We as an agency typically do 20 to 30 per ad group. But what we've really found is it depends on your budget. So if you have 100 keywords in a campaign and you have $100 a day budget, you're not going to have enough budget to collect data on all of those keywords because as PPC experts, we know every keyword needs around 10 to 15 clicks to make a decision. So again, if you have 100 keywords in an ad group and you need 10 to 15 clicks, and you only have $100 a day budget, it's impossible to collect data across all those keywords because what Amazon's going to do is they're going to start with a few keywords that gain traction first, say, oh, all my budget needs to go here. On the flip side, we've set campaigns with $10,000 a day budgets. And if we have 100 keywords, all of those 100 keywords will start gaining traction because we have enough budget for it. Now, these are only for like really large brands. I don't recommend small brands go in and do this just to help. What I recommend is starting in smaller groups because another key factor is budgeting's on the campaign level. So if you really want to control all of your budgets, then what we need to do is start with smaller groups. And then as those keywords do well, increase the budget. And then as another campaign's keywords do well, increase the budget. If they're not doing well, decrease the budget. So that's why we do small groups. I don't think it's necessarily Amazon hurting our campaign if we have too many keywords. I just think that there's not enough budget to collect data on.
Okay, interesting. Like we had like, sometimes we had been even increasing the budget and like still had 0 impressions. Then we just started to put it into a new campaign, like because there's nothing we can lose because there's no data. And
they're not getting anything.
So, and then we just started to see some results, but interesting to see if you really increase the budget. I have never put in 10,000 euro or USD budget. I mean, some magic could happen there then, but interesting. Okay. Good. Okay. So we have this simple structure, and I guess from there you start to analyze also the campaigns. I don't know if maybe on a weekly or monthly basis to decide what can we do with the data, I guess.
Yeah, so we have our own bid management software that runs multiple times a week. But if you're personally managing your own brand, I recommend looking at every, 4 to 5 days, hopping in. I love using the targeting tab with an advertising console nowadays. I think that helps a ton. But recommend hopping in. We always filter top down by spend. I want to see all of my highest spending campaigns because if I optimize those first, that's going to drive the best performance across the rest of my structure. And then what we typically look at is past 30 days. Now, if I make any crazy changes in the account, let's say I update my copy or I add new images or I add a coupon, then maybe I want to look at a tinier time frame because my conversion rate will change. And if my listing conversion rate changes, that has the greatest effect on PPC. So that's typically the time frames we look at. We don't really recommend looking at lifetime. I think that's a mistake people make.
Okay, guilty of that. So we have sometimes looked into lifetime there because sometimes you say like, okay, when you have like 15 or 20 clicks, you know, okay, this, and you have 0 sales, like, okay, this is getting probably more and more irrelevant. So we start to have especially a look on the lifetime there, but okay, good to know. So when you say you optimize them, like, do you also take your data and create out of the collected data new campaigns, or you just try to stay within these 3 campaigns then?
So for optimization, what I'm really looking at is bid management. I think that bid management is probably the most important thing to focus on in Amazon advertising. In order to be good at Amazon ads, you have to understand bid management. I always say that you could have an amazing keyword, but if you have a bad bid, it's not going to perform well. It could be your most relevant keyword, but if you have too high of a bid, you could have a bad ACOS. On the flip side, you can have a really bad keyword, but as long as you have good bid management, it can be profitable. So like bid management's the immediate focus, but you're correct. The second thing we layer in is looking for new keywords and really investing in keyword research and long tail keywords. So this is why we do run in all match types. So I run auto campaigns and broad and phrase. So that way every 15 to 30 days, I can download my search term report, look for all of my new keywords that were fantastic search terms driven from broad or phrase. And then we call it deduplicate. So we're only looking for unique campaigns, unique keywords to put in new campaigns. I'll set those up and then I'll launch new campaigns based off that long tail keyword research.
Okay, when you say you had these fantastic search terms, what means fantastic? Like how many sales or what KPIs are you looking at?
Yep. So we typically filter by 3 sales or more goes in its own campaign because we know that it's driven a lot of data in the last 30 days. If it's driven 2 sales, it's still probably relevant. And it's driven 1 sale, not as relevant. So we'll start with a lower bid. Now, with that, though, we need to make sure we're also converting well because something could have driven 3 sales, but if it had, like you said, like 100 clicks, then that's not necessarily a fantastic conversion rate. So we'll kind of also layer in conversion rate. And then I think like one thing that's really important is you can have a 50% conversion rate, but if you have a $5 bid, it may not be too profitable for you. So we always make sure to lower in that conversion rate. Do you see this fly?
From time to time, yeah.
A fly that's like right here driving me insane. But yeah, we also look at cost per clicks and conversion rate. But the biggest thing is that it's driving sales because I can control the bid.
Okay. And so 3 sales, and then you really start to create new campaigns, like this, okay, like, and then with higher budget, with higher clicks, or is it like on the same structure?
So it's pretty much the same structure because when I put them into new campaigns, that doesn't always mean they're going to be super successful because again, when you try to recreate keywords, it's not always fantastic.
You just have to excuse me for 1 second. My dog is going wild. I have to.
Oh, you're fine. Yes.
Okay. He wanted to destroy some samples. We have to take care of that. Yeah, so same structure, or what, back to the question? Yep,
so pretty much we launch in the same structure, but since we're in the very beginning and we don't have a ton of data, we'll start with lower bids and budgets. And as I see that it's performing well in the new campaign, I increase bids, I increase budgets, and I scale once I have data-based decision-making.
That's interesting because for me it also would make sense to say, okay, we don't start with lower budget, we start even with higher budget or with higher clicks, because we could say like we have seen in the past this search term is performing, but this way it turns out to be better for you, or how did you come up with this?
So if it's driven 3 sales or more and it has all of that data, then we'll start with a little bit higher bid and budget. But if it's driven less, we really want to kind of test the waters and then wait and see if it does well in its new campaign before scaling it out.
Okay, cool. Okay, I think so. A lot of people can already take a good structure from here. So when you start, you don't have a huge budget. You would start with 3 campaigns, I guess 3 campaigns, 3 ad groups, exact broad phrase, test every keyword, have a good keyword research, 20 to 30 keywords. And then when you start to see that you have sales, more than 2 or better 3, then you start to create new campaigns, but first with a lower budget, lower bits, and then you can start to increase it. Okay, I think that's a very basic but good structure for a start.
Yep.
So one question I also wanted to talk with you, because you have mentioned also at the beginning that you have really good results with sponsored video ads and sponsored brands video, and we also have very good results with that. And I was wondering if you guys kind of figured out a formula for you or for your clients, how to structure a video. Like, do you try to create a video in a specific way and okay, it's a perfect fit for Amazon? Or is it just like, okay, that's our client, please give us a video and we will start to run it?
Yep. So in general, we typically get videos from our clients that are aligned with their branding, but we have found that the videos that Amazon makes, like from their DSP team, or Amazon's also releasing a video builder within advertising console. So that way agencies will be able to create their own videos, which I think is going to be super cool. What we found is, since it is a pay-per-click model, which means we're only getting charged if a customer clicks on the video, that the video ads that look really simple, that look just like an Amazon listing, not a lot of crazy changes, do really, really well. Commercial grade, this fly is driving me insane. Commercial grade videos like that you would see on TV, like when professional brands send us those videos, they do good, but I don't know if they're worth the cost. Like, if you're scrolling as a customer on Amazon and you see a commercial, you're probably not that likely to click on it because you know it's a commercial. But if you're scrolling Amazon and you see, hey, a product that looks just like a regular product and then maybe has moving features and bullet points, I think customers are more likely to click on that because they don't necessarily realize it's a commercial. They just think it's an additional feature of Amazon to show you a product better.
That's interesting. So even kind of just like a row from the pictures would be even... So I think before you have no video, just do that, right? Just like take the pictures, create a 15, 20 second.
100%. Like, it's so easy and it's really low risk, because if a customer hates your video, they just won't click on the ad. So you don't have to worry about getting charged, where else most models are a CPM model and you'll get charged for that. With most of on-platform video and search ads, it's pay-per-click, which works in our favor.
Yeah, but it's interesting because we have kind of a little mastermind, and we have shown like one and two of our new spots, and member from the mastermind said exactly the same. He was like, you know what, this is a very good video spot, but it looks like too much of a commercial. Like, it's too much commercial. It's like you can see it's an advertiser. Maybe you should try to make it look like it's from Amazon, like exactly what you said. So I guess it's also just worth a test. I mean, you have to take into consideration, okay, if you produce a high quality video, like the easily 1,000, 2,000 USD spent and like get that back, I mean, that takes a little bit of time. I mean, it depends on the product and the margin, but yeah, if you have the same result just with the pictures in a row, like go for it, right?
Hey, I will say Amazon's in the process of rolling out their off-platform video ad, which means we will be able to go into sponsor brands and run videos on their Fire TV traffic. And for that traffic, you're going to need a commercial grade video. So you guys are definitely ahead of the game there, because that's what brands are going to need. Amazon's not going to approve their kind of lower quality videos that we're able to run on Amazon, because when a customer's watching on Fire TV, they're going to want a professional grade commercial. So it's definitely a good thing to do.
Yeah, okay, that's true. That's definitely. I mean, in general, it's very interesting to see that you are getting, even if you are just brand registered, to see that you are getting more and more options to target out of the Amazon cosmos. I mean, we haven't talked about DSP yet, but even just like just register a brand and have the option to target. I mean, with SDAs, just like traffic outside Amazon. I think this is also an increasing part. Like I wasn't aware of the fact that it's getting. I don't know if it's already out that you can target on Amazon Fire TV or it's coming out.
It is already out. It's a beta, so it's not in all
Okay.
accounts yet.
And do you have seen like some results with it?
We haven't ran it too aggressively because it is more top of the funnel.
Oh, okay.
So if you're running an ad on video, customers are shopping, they're ready to purchase on Amazon. But if you're running a video ad on Fire TV, they're watching TV for a reason. So they may not want to come to Amazon and purchase. So a
Yeah.
lot of brands aren't okay with moving up the funnel like that.
Okay, get it. Okay, just have a look on the time, and I know you're a little bit short on time today, so I will just try to get one more question out
Okay.
of you.
Perfect.
And that is, where do you like to send your traffic, especially like from sponsored brand ads in general? It doesn't have to be a video ad, like in general. Do you like to run it on a landing page, product detail page directly, brand shop? Like, what's your favorite?
So we've split test this quite a bit. And what we found is that a landing page typically converts the best because it's super simple. A customer is looking for a blue pin. They type in blue pin, they click on your ad, they see all 4 of your products. They check out. There's no confusion. We found that sometimes if you drive customers to your store and they can't immediately add to cart, they'll get lost in the process. Now, we do like store traffic when we're moving up the funnel. So if I'm targeting school supplies, maybe I want to drive them to my store because it's a broader target. Customers who type in school supplies don't exactly know what they're looking for. They may be looking for scissors or paper or backpacks. So we want them to see my store, which has all of those products, and then we can get them to convert from our store page. But in general, we prefer a landing page for anything that's direct, immediate checkout, very specific targeting. And then as we move up the funnel, go a little bit more broad, we'll drive to store pages.
Okay, interesting. I mean, it would be now another topic on itself, like how to structure a brand store, but that's a topic for another day.
We need to hop on and do like a whole different podcast for sponsor brands and sponsor displays.
True. Okay, Destaney, I guess you're probably working with big brands for now, but are you still taking on especially Europe clients? Because like our audience is mainly German, if someone is interested. And if so, where can they reach them? Where can they find you?
Yeah, so we do take on kind of a wide array of clients. We typically focus on brands that have more money to spend. So typically around $20,000, $30,000 a month budgets is our minimum. In general, if you're interested in hearing more about us, like check us out on LinkedIn, has Dustin mentioned. That's where we post the most content. So even if you're not ready to work with us yet, you can reach out to my team, you can check our content, and we can help you scale to get there. And if you're interested in working with us, just check us out at betterams.com.
Okay, perfect. I will link your LinkedIn and your website, Better AMS, in the description. And I would say that's it for now. Destaney, I know you have to go. So it was a pleasure to have you on the podcast. And yes, speak to you soon.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dustin. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
See ya. Bye-bye.
See ya.